What's up, Bears fans? It's Brandon, and it's time for another Bears Latest. Today is Wednesday, April the 16th. We are T minus 8 days and counting until the draft. Let's get you caught up on what's going on in the world of the Chicago Bears. Over the weekend, Kyler Gordon got a big payday. Signed for 3 years, 40 million with just north of 31 million guaranteed. He is now the highest paid nickelback in the league. Congratulations to Kyler, much deserved. That's another strong defensive player locked down and is going to have a productive season in Dennis Allen's defense. Him and Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson, that's going to be a very, very, very strong, potent defensive side of the ball. So way to go there. Congratulations, Kyler. So glad that we're going to have you around for 3 more years. And hopefully another contract after that. So Bears fans, I got to ask you, where do we go from there? Where do we go from in terms of who we might sign long term next? Because we have a really great core, a young core of players that Ryan Poles has drafted, and they're coming towards the end of their contract. We also have free agents that have signed with us that are nearing the end of their contracts and may have lived up to it. So the question that I'm posing is, who is going to get extended next? And I've got three names that have come to mind. And they are in no particular order whatsoever. But I definitely think these are names to consider when considering locking up players long term, especially in Caleb's quarterback window right now, since we're in year two of potentially five. So I think first and foremost, I think TJ Edwards has got to be a big priority. He has outplayed his contract. He is a strong leader. He's in his late 20s, and he is a tackling machine. And I think it's somebody that is going to continue to improve with Dennis Allen. I think they're going to take a step forward in that department because they're going to be getting a better pass rush and a stronger defensive run game as well up on that front four. So I think that that's going to allow the linebacking core to do a little more work. So I think TJ Edwards is going to benefit from this defense. I think the next person to consider is going to be Joe Thuney on the offensive line there. I know he hasn't played a snap yet for the Bears, but the guy already is probably our strongest lineman. He's an all-pro. He's probably one of our probably top 3 or 4 players on this team, if not number one. He is an all-pro. He is a hardworking guy. He goes to work with grit, and he delivers. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's an all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler. Is exactly the kind of player that Dan Roshar, our O-line coach, and Ben Johnson need to open up the run game and then to also implement play action pass and regular pass. I think that keeping him around for at least the next couple of years is going to benefit us in a big way, especially if we are investing this season and even next season in the offensive line. He'll serve as a great mentor. And he'll just be somebody that's going to be able to instill a really high level of work ethic into these young Bears, especially this O-line that has been Frankenstein together, so to speak, with the additions of Jonah Jackson and Drew Dahlman to go along with Joe Thuney. I think it's going to benefit Darnell Wright on the right side, Braxton Jones on the left, and whatever draft picks end up coming in. So Joe Thuney is a definite must. The third one, which I think would be a good extension, depending on how the season progresses, is Jaquan Brisker. Brisker, when he's on the field, is a stone cold SOB. He is always out there making plays. He puts his body on the line. And while that's a great thing, an exciting thing to see on the field, he also has put his body in harm's way quite a bit. And so I'm really concerned about his injuries. And especially with him, and then Kevin Byard at age 32. We have to figure out what we're going to do with that safety position, which it might be possible that we invest in that in the draft this year too, maybe a player or two. Um, but I think if he has a good season, Jaquan stays on the field and isn't a bullet all over the field, smashing everything in sight. I think if he can turn in a 16, 17 game season, I would definitely consider maybe a contract even along the lines of Kyler Gordon's in terms of length to keep that core together for years to come. So let me know what you guys think. Put something down in the comments. Let me know who you think we should look at re-signing, extending, maybe not even consider. Like absolutely not. He needs to go and hit the free agent market. Just let us know what you think. And from there, that takes us. We were talking about the draft earlier. We got to talk about the fact that we're wrapping up with top 30 visits. Today is the last day of official top 30 visits for any team in the NFL. And the Bears actually finished strong with a very intriguing visit today. Jordan Hancock, cornerback from The Ohio State University. He came in today for a visit, and it was very, very intriguing because you would think, well, the Bears have already got a surplus of corners, and we have solid reserves as well. Why would we be looking at a guy like Jordan Hancock if we already have a cornerback room that is already pretty well stocked? And the thing is that a lot of people are projecting Jordan Hancock to be more of a safety than a cornerback. So almost kind of like if you remember the back half of Charles Woodson's career, especially when he made it up into Green Bay, he ended up making the switch to safety, and pretty much it was a resurrection, so to speak, and it extended his career out, and it just he thrived in Don Capers' defense when he made that switch. So a lot of people feel that Jordan Hancock is going to be that same similar way, making the switch over to safety. Right now, he's projected to be a 5th or 6th round pick, so he would be somebody that the Bears could be in on in that part of the draft, especially since we're most likely going to be investing on the offensive side of the ball on the line, probably the defensive line. We've been talking running back, tight end. So to have a pick like this later in the draft, especially since this position or these positions in the secondary are pretty deep, that would be definitely one that would pique our interest and would be an interesting pick for the team. So, yeah, now that we've got that all wrapped up, top 30 visits, private workouts, now the Bears are going to do their final homework and figure out what players are really on the top 30 of their board, and how their draft will progress. So it'll be very interesting to see how that turns out next Thursday. Last, but certainly not least, we started a segment the other day called It Bears Mentioning. And today we're going to be talking about on this day in Bears history, which is actually kind of a day late. Not even kind of, it is a day late. But something very interesting happened 25 years ago on April the 15th, 2000. When the trajectory of the Bears completely was altered, and it was altered for the better. So keep in mind, we, the Bears, were with second-year head coach Dick Jauron. That's how far we're going back and talking here. And Jerry Angelo was your GM. They made 2 very amazing and noteworthy picks in the 2000 draft. Just a guy that played safety at the University of New Mexico and was converted to a linebacker, none other than Brian Urlacher. And then in the second round, what do? They go out and they get a hard-hitting safety from Oklahoma, none other than Mike Brown. And Mike Brown Brian Urlacher became the face of that defense in 2000 and beyond. A lot of us can remember that magical 2001 season where the Bears were like the cardiac Bears and were these come from behind victories. And Mike Brown had a couple of picks ran in or a fumble return in there, basically turnover for touchdown. I can remember one against Cleveland back in the fall of 2001. Where they ended up coming from behind and winning that game, and Mike Brown ran it right into the end zone. And I was in my dorm room, lost my freaking mind. The guy was all over the field. I mean, the ball was pretty much just attracted to him throughout his career. And then Urlacher, still one of the best linebackers in terms of sideline to sideline speed that I've ever seen in my life. And there's been some outstanding linebackers over time, but Brian Urlacher, nothing better than watching him just chase down runners, receivers with that fast speed of his and just taking people out. So that is your history lesson, folks. So April 15th, 2000, Urlacher and Brown join the Bears. Folks, it's been real. Leave a comment down in the box there. If you have any questions, you have things that you want me to do a little bit of investigating in for our future episodes of Bears Latest, put something down there in the comments. I'll be sure to read that and see if it's worth diving into, which anything Chicago Bears, how are you not about that? So, folks, I'm Brandon, and this has been another Bears Latest. And as always, bear down.